Great. Good afternoon and welcome to the City of Glens Falls Water and Sewer Workshop Special Meeting. It's Monday, June 16th. It's a little after 2 p.m. We usually open all our meetings with public participation, but I don't see anybody here from the public. Peter, will you let us know if somebody joins us online and they'd like to speak up? The first item is a resolution for F&W Forestry, um, Mark and Tally Timber for sale resolution. It's the resolution's in front of you. Bill, did you have any comments about that for us?
Really didn't really need a resolution because basically this is just for them to go up and tally so that we can see what the resolution for the sale will be, what the final numbers. And, this is a revenue resolution, so it doesn't have to go to the council. But I thought since I wanted we were going to do this, we might as well do the 2 billion too. So we might as well have done this, give them permission so everybody knows that they're up there.
Okay, so Mark and Tally is a company. It's not Tally is in count.
Yes.
No, it's supposed to be. No.
Mark done.
Oh, Mark and Tally the lumber
Yeah.
itself.
Oh, yeah.
Then we'll figure out how much we can get for it. Is that right?
Yeah, they want to identify species and things like that of the trees and what's good quality, what's fallen, if there's any reasons, if any bug infestation and stuff like that. So they'll go not only to Market Alley, but they'll also do a little inspection first.
Great. And which is this the lower watershed, the upper watershed? What's the area?
Upper watershed.
Upper watershed. Okay.
That's Jason Wilkie Reservoir.
Okay. Oh, right, in our packet. Okay. That's right. Good point. Sorry.
Nope.
Any questions?
Nope.
Motion to approve?
So, second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Billing issues, 175 Broad Street. Bill?
Yeah, and this came up and it was nice to couple this with that so that we could get these people some answers. Came up for the board at the June board meeting, and the request was for backup information. I think as you can see, all the backup information was provided about previous bills at both 175 Broad and 29 Smith Street. So if anybody has any questions, but I think those questions were answered by the backup that Mary Beth provided. I asked if there was any history of these locations, and Mary Beth emailed me back that there was not.
Great.
I had a question on 175. Is this it says Windsor Development Group. Is this an apartment situation?
It's actually a business. It's a nail salon.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay. Okay.
So we asked Bill to check to see if they had a history of problems in the property, and we found out they don't. So this would be a one-time thing to go back to what their normal bill was. What was the normal bill, Bill?
It was 127, 26, pretty much. Yeah, around one. Yeah, right.
120,
172 would be a highway.
right?
So let me just.
83. Yeah. Did you get an average of all the time?
127 range.
Took the 127, 26.
So did we need a resolution, or are we just talking about it?
No, we need a resolution to go back
To
give them a credit back to their average rate.
And so what's the amount of the credit that you're asking us to have the resolution of?
Let me just get a calculator here. That's the one thing I didn't do.
If you take it 1106.55 and minus 127.26, it'd be 979.29.
Thanks, Ron.
979.29,
Yes.
One-time relief.
one-time relief to this property?
Yep.
Any questions, comments?
I think we're wrong.
Perhaps we have the, one time in the house.
At the last meeting, you mean?
Oh, no, a long time
No, we
Oh.
tabled it.
We tabled it, yeah.
in the past.
You mean way in the past.
Yeah.
How long did Mary Beth look back at?
Yeah.
I'd say she went back as far as she can, probably the last 5, 10 years or whatever this business came into this property.
She has
Oh,
no
it-
record of, has never received a credit on their bill.
There was a issue with the place next door, I think.
Oh,
That was oh, I'm sorry, that was down the road. That was at
The gas.
the gas station.
Yeah.
Gas station. This isn't the gas
Well,
station.
Corner staple, right?
God, yeah,
this is the nail salon.
the plaza.
You okay?
But you want to table it again and we can
Do some more research.
do some more research. Okay, do it.
Okay. So,
But no, there was no history of problems from what Mary Beth, and she's
pretty thorough, right?
going back.
Okay. So, do we have a motion to issue that credit of $979.29?
7929. So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
got a question.
Yes,
When you, if you don't replace the toilet like that, can you just like, they said, they replaced the toilet and the feed from, source.
Yeah.
Um, if you have to replace the toilet? There's no code that says,
It says he replaced it.
you know,
he's saying you replaced it, but I don't think you replaced it because we made them replace it. We didn't.
yeah, you know, because.
That was prior to this.
Right.
No, I mean.
But then,
So it was like, they continue to get these bills.
And then we would not,
Yeah.
we would not remove the
No,
charges.
And we may give the credit on this one, but if they remove it, they'll still get the continue to get the same bills. And this is a one-time
On the replaced toilet.
Yeah, okay,
for 10 years.
there we go. It's amazing that a toilet could have, a bad toilet could have that much of an
it keeps
effect.
running like that and running.
Just running,
Yeah.
it's just like a tap.
I had
Tony Fawcett outside.
I had a leaky faucet one time, just drip outside, didn't know it. My bill went up to $650 for one.
Really?
Yeah. Doesn't
Wow.
take much.
yeah, but if you don't have to replace the toilet.
Well, that was her decision or the plumber's decision, it wasn't ours.
Yeah, but I mean, is there a code that they can replace the toilet or not?
No,
No,
Oh, was it?
Clearly
You gotta build new
It
with
says
it.
the plumber stated it's an old style toilet that was out of code, so it was the plumber, not the
oh, I
city,
gotcha. Yeah,
saying that maybe whatever style it was, they didn't make anymore or something.
right. But it's not,
Yeah,
it's
but-
been,
I don't know, it wasn't the city though saying it.
okay. Yep. We don't care if they don't replace the toilet, but we won't remove these
No,
charges.
we'll go to
because
charges again.
Glad that they
Right.
replaced the
Yeah,
toilet.
oh, yeah,
There we go.
Going
Okay.
forward.
they
Okay.
can, sue the landlord too, because it says that the original plant, the original equipment.
All right. Yeah, okay. 29 Smith Street. Bill, you want to give us an update regarding that, what we found?
Yeah, yeah. Mrs. Hellman called me for the meeting last, beginning of the month, beginning of June, our board meeting. And told me what had happened and that she had lost a family member and gone through a bunch of different things and then got the water bill. And reached out to the handyman and found out that there was a problem with the toilet. The upstairs apartment, which was running constantly, and she had no way of knowing it. So she took care of the problem. As you can see from the breakdown Mary Beth received, the customer's never received a credit to her account before, and she's always been in the low to mid 200s. And Ron, like 1,193.27.
that's what I have.
Do we have, questions, comments? If not, do we have a motion to issue a relief, a one-time relief of,
$1,193.27.
So moved.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
1,193.
Can I ask about this toilet theme? I know we have to do our stormwater moment as kind of a satisfaction of the MS4 thing. Uh, I'm getting tired of hearing this tune when it plays at least a couple times a year. People's old toilets and it's happened to me. It's happened to my parents and the apartment house that they have. And is there any stormwater moment style thing that I don't want to add more work to just one more thing, but is there any place where stuff is going out that we could like annually hit just a little
message
thing?
when they're-
Have you checked your toilet, or have you looked at how tight is the silcocks around the outside in the fall before
Sure.
winter? And I don't know, it just, I get how you'd forget about it, especially if you're not a builder or a do-it-yourselfer. It's
Sure.
it's out of mind, and it's such a dumb thing to go wrong, and it always does.
It's a waste of a resource.
It
And
is.
a waste of money. You have apartments. We've had it happen where
Yep.
you don't even realize till you get a bill for $600. You go, geez, you go upstairs, the toilet's running. You ask the tenant, how long has that been going on? Oh, 6 months. I'm downstairs.
Yeah, yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Bill?
I know there's no place for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that, it's, to Chris's point, no one realizes it or pays attention to it until they get that bill and they open it up. It's, oh my God,
Right,
and what the problem is, and then, they get a plumber to come in, they certify the letter, and, we're nice enough to give them a relief. There's nothing says that we have to do that. There's nothing saying that we have to give them full relief. We can give them a percentage. We can look at different things. We can also, as Chris said, put something maybe on the webpage or for the city or something, maybe every 6 months in the Chronicle, please check your toilets for leaks. We don't like people to get,
yeah.
high bills.
Well, one thing you could do is just start to add in the monthly meetings, a watershed moment, maybe an educational. I used to do it, Special Olympics, we would do a most misunderstood, like if it was for a softball, the state games, I would have them highlight the top three rules that coaches had forgotten or didn't know. And so you could do a stormwater moment of things we want to remind people of, problems with the toilet. Check this. If you see this, call a plumber, right? Call somebody who knows. So, and that's one thing. And in that same, so good question. I think we should do that. Won't reach that many people because I don't know how many people are watching this any more than they're watching our stormwater moments. But I know, Bill, I've asked you next Tuesday to come to the council meeting and to talk about, did we get the second report from, I forgot what the name of the company was. Raftellus. Did we get that second report done?
Not yet. I think they're still waiting on some financial reports from Mary Hastings. I'm not sure if she's found them yet.
So you could at least give the council at next Tuesday's meeting a summary of what we found, which wasn't all that much in the first one. And you could say that the second one, when it's finally done, that you'll come back maybe in the summer and educate the council. But remember that what led to those. We need to look at how we're billing people and look at how different it is, similar it is from other communities. We need to find a way for us to educate people. Maybe a newsletter, maybe quarterly, instead of sending out the bill that we normally send out, which is in a flyer and a mailing. And I know we get a cheaper rate, so we don't have to pay, but maybe a couple times a year that goes with an informational flyer. Maybe it's something more. I really don't know, but maybe it's part of See Click Fix and educating people that sign up and get information. but I don't believe people understand simple fixes regarding that how much a leaky faucet or a toilet can cost them. I don't believe that they know that we bill quarterly. And so when they get a bill and it's for $250, that still that water and sewer bill is less than their cell phone, that they're paying less for their cell phone charges than they are for both water and sewer together in the city of Glens Falls. And that because they get this bill every quarter, it's $250 or $300, and they go, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm paying this." It's like, yeah, but you're paying 3 times that much for your cell phone. Then when that's water and sewer together, right? But because of the way it comes and because of the way we bill it, because that bill itself is confusing, I still have to admit, at being mayor over 3.5 years, I could not tell you exactly what I'm paying for. I do know it now. I know that it's broken in both. There's an assessment based on my property value and that's what I'm paying for the long-term cost of this property. And then there's the annual usage bill that I'm almost always at the minimum, right? But in general, we know so little about it. So instead of us understanding and being appreciative of the services that we provide, they only get to gripe about it quarterly. And so that's why we were paying for these 2 reports. And I think we need to look at how can we help people to become more aware of the great department that this is, where their expenses are going, what their bill is being used for, how they can minimize it. And some of them, they can't minimize it, right? Because they're using the minimum expenditures, right? You separately should look at that. Do we want to encourage people to use less? If we do that, that means we're going to have to get more money from the people that are using more.
Yep.
And we're going to anger our our apartment holders, our businesses, right? But I think that you should let's spend the summer and the fall looking at these things so that we can, even if we're going to keep it the same, wouldn't it be great to educate people about what we're doing and why we're doing it? Because everybody knows what it's like to get a call about, I can't believe water and sewer. When I announced that the city of Glens Falls had a 0% tax increase for first time in 22 years, a few people said, "Oh, that's great, thank you." But just as many, if not more people said, "But my water bill went up. Don't you tell me taxes stayed the same." And
It's not a tax.
that's right. It's not a tax, and if I say that sarcastically, it doesn't help my case anymore. I just think we should educate people about the great stuff we're doing, how we're not polluting the Hudson River, how we've invested in separating storm and sewer water. These great things are happening, and we don't really have a chance to let people know. So think about that as we think about. I agree with you. How many people don't? I've got a bucket where there's a drip from. It's just a valve that's gone, but I don't. I'm not the guy to do it. So the bucket, it takes about 3 months to fill the bucket, and then I pour it out, and that's. But if it took more, I think if it was daily, I mean,
It is costing you money then.
it probably is. I'm still underneath the minimum charge, so I don't think it is. But still,
Well, to
I
your
gotta-
point, you were saying that you just kind of finished up with saying, educate people about what good is going down here, and I very much understand that. But it almost implies, and this is where I often have come from up until recently, of the them and us, or down here and the citizens. We're servicing what we all make. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very much this, and people do not understand or see that, which is frustrating because they
Yeah.
flush their toilets, they turn their taps on, they cook,
Yeah, if you got an issue, they're gonna call the water.
yeah, they see it as very other and separate, and
Yeah.
it's them, it's themselves, it's their neighbors, it's which that to me is, how do you educate when somebody has othered you? Like it's
Yeah.
that has to stop first. But we wouldn't have quite as
I
much
know
to
what
talk
we're
about
doing with the
CNN if that was
police.
the case.
We're doing coffee. I just got done spending the morning at Cronin and Stitchman to talk to them. And they're missing the fact, I guess, around, during their reconstruction of those buildings, that they stopped going over, the officers stopped because they couldn't use the community room. And I want them to go back, because I think that by them seeing them on a regular basis, it helps them to not build the us and them. They're they're frustrated with some homeless people that are hanging out in front of their building, and I do appreciate it. But those are the same cops that really do care about it and are doing everything they can. And but allowing that us and them to build by not being there on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Maybe we could find some way to interact with people on a positive note and telling them what's going on here. I don't know. They come when there's a problem. They don't come up at much else. And you're right. There's an us and them sort of thing instead of an us and us. I remember there was a constituent was angry with me on Hunter Street, and he was, those SOBs at the water and sewer. And I go, those are guys that are residents. They don't get paid a thing to come here. And you could be on the board if you wanted. Oh, I don't know. So I think that's important, that they at least know that we're meeting and that we care very much, that it's our, we wouldn't spend a penny on that we wouldn't want spent ourselves. How many people don't know there is a planning board? There is a water and sewer board. So let's think about how we can reach out to people more and educate them. Let's see. Discussion. Proposal number 1, herbicide Japanese knotweed, F&W Forestry. Bill?
Yeah, that's, I think, Tom spoke about it at the previous meeting, told us what it entails. If we don't treat it, it just, makes it more of a problem when we try to treat it. It's a nuisance, invasive species that, needs to be dealt with basically on a yearly basis, bi-yearly basis. And, Tom just, as he was going out looking at the areas to be forested, noticed that it was, to the point where we should probably put an application out. So,
Application. And
Okay.
so I've heard that people say that although it's invasive, that it's actually a pretty healthy, it's healthy for an ecosystem. Do you know if any of that's true, or I'm just hearing the other side of it? Like, and what are the downsides of using the herbicide?
I don't think there's any downside of using the herbicide. I think based as this plant is an invasive species and nothing destroys it, if we let it go, it's just gonna take over the fields.
Yeah, it said Japanese knotweed spreads quite easily. Once established, it can form dense thickets of sprouts that could feed native species.
The last meeting, it was concern of how much you're gonna be able to timber when things start getting choked out.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And it's a knotweed watershed rather than a tree-filled one.
Is this gonna be a resolution for the next meeting?
I think we need a resolution. It's not that much money. I mean, I think we just given the approval.
Okay,
That was one of the things I was surprised about. From what he talked about and the scope that I thought this was gonna take, these dollar amounts
they're pretty.
are about a third or a quarter of what I thought we were gonna be in for. I thought it'd have to be
Yeah.
pick the worst
No,
and go, do the best you can.
well, that's why if we wait longer, there will be
Yeah,
larger sums of money.
That's kind of, that was my second thought, is like, well,
you need a motion to move this along, Bill?
No, I think just an approval from the board to go ahead and do it. It's within the budget limit.
Okay.
well, the way
Went outside.
the way he said too, that they now do the application and they're forestry people, that this isn't somebody with a chemical truck that gets paid the more they spray. This is somebody that's in
Yeah.
forestry and, knows the judicious and proper usage of this stuff. That almost makes me feel a little bit better about the application. I feel like
Yeah,
people that are interested in things growing there and it not being contaminated or done improperly are the ones that are gonna be doing it, not someone who's got no interest in that.
and to your point, Chris, remember he said, they used to go out and hire someone to do it because they didn't have anybody that was licensed in-house. And I think either that business closed or the person went away, so they licensed someone in-house. So they do it all in-house now.
Yeah, I think, they got maybe two, maybe they had one, they sent out the new license and they hired another one that had a license, so. At any rate, I think it's something we should, take a, go ahead and do with the resource up there, we should protect it as much as we can while we can.
I
Anybody?
think, if you speak to Jim Lieber too from Warren County, he has the same sentiments.
Good.
Yeah, I think they're using it, they're injecting it into the plants at Crandall Park, or the Crandall Park Beautification Committee has made that suggestion, and I've asked for more information about it. Is there anybody who's got any concerns, or would you like to make a recommendation?
I'll make a recommendation, we proceed with that.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Any opposed? Great.
Good.
So recommended. Number 2, property inspection.
That was the, at the same meeting that Tom Jones was at, previously telling us about the timber sale. He told us about the forestry and doing an inspection, taking a look at the trees and how they're being impacted by invasive species and any kind of bug infestation and health risks to the trees. So he would do that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, what you said back in the day, they were looking at a whole inspection of the watershed at some point, weren't they?
Way back a few years ago, yeah. They were gonna come up, we were actually gonna do a 10-year plan, but it never came about, which probably we should
Yeah.
take a look at sometime. It'd be controlled
and I
harvesting
think-
over certain areas or certain years.
Like a succession plan.
Right.
Taking different paths and how many years we could forest and stuff. So I think Tom said he was gonna revisit that and see what it would take for us to get a study like that done.
Yeah, we should.
But I think this is the same thing, just a property inspection, and you can
Yep.
see, it's a, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a minimal fee, but it's not outrageous to
No, it's pretty reasonable.
walk on the watershed and take a look at the health of our watershed.
Health of the trees in the watershed.
Yes,
Okay.
So, we're gonna do all the upper watershed. We're gonna do all, what,
All of the upper watershed?
yes.
that's cheap.
Yeah, so I thought.
It is.
Great. Maybe a recommendation again, instead of a resolution, recommendation to,
Recommend.
Second.
all in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Finch Prine SFI audit.
Yes, part of this timber sale, I think, Finch Prime has expressed some interest in taking some of the timber from whoever gets the forestry contract. But in order for them to do that, they have to, representatives from Finch Prime has to walk it with the forester, with Tom, and making sure that they're taking it out of, healthy and safe watershed areas. They're not, over forestering the areas, and, so that they don't deplete it. So this is a way that Finch has to satisfy that requirement to who they report to, whether it's the TEC or someone that over sees their operations and where they get their timber from.
What is FSF?
So I told him that was no problem. Just the only thing I've asked of anybody that goes up there looking at anything is just to make sure that we know about it, so that, we don't go up there one day and we just see people walking around. One of the operators would get all scared, they called sheriff, so we want to know when people are on our property.
Great. Who's SFI, Bill?
I think it's a state forestry something. I apologize not knowing the acronym. I will double check on that and get back. It was just an email, just for our information. see any kind of, issue with them. I'm gonna be walking the area anyway, so.
Okay,
They go with the forester,
Yes.
they go with the forester.
Yes. And we'll be aware, so, if Ricky or someone wants to tag along, one of our guys can go along also.
electrical upgrade update.
Ray Pierce this week is meeting internally on all of the 90% drawings. And once they approve them and they go through them, make their comments, correct all of their comments, or if they find anything, that one discipline out of the other, disciplines, whether it's electrical, structural, or anyone that's looking through these finds any, they'll correct them and then submit the 90% to us, and we'll go through them and take a look at them, and then go and give our approval and go for some drawings and documents that'll be prepared for bidding. So we're very close to being completed with this electrical design.
Is there any idea how long the finished, here you go, is relevant? Is it kind of like a 2-year thing, or before too much time passes, technology changes things, or is there, I mean, we need to do this again in 10 years if nothing can get funded, or
No, well,
build from this, I would think it's not gonna be from a scratch again, but
no, well, let's look at it this way. It's over 40 years since the stuff that we have now
yeah,
has been upgraded. So I would say realistically, hopefully we don't have to look at it for at least this much time. I mean, the advances in the electrical stuff and issues like that. But who's to say, like you said, Chris, technology changes so much. Who knows if somebody comes up with a new light bulb or a new kind of breaker or something. The problem I foresee right now with all of these electrical projects, and probably Ron knows this too, is delivery now. Things are so far out trying to get, a switch gear or a transformer. You used to be able to get them in, 6, 8 months. Now they're out almost 2 years.
2 years.
It's just, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better. So, even if we go through and we get our 100% design, we submit it to the state, get their approval. So there's 3 months. Go out to bid. There's another 3 months, so 6 months before we get a contractor to bid on it. And you're probably looking at, 1 to 2 years before they can get a lot of the equipment. And then you're looking at probably a 3-year, probably less than that, probably 2-year construction phase. So you're looking out almost, 4 years on, on a good schedule. But, to your point, Chris, I think with how far technology has already come, how much more can we go? For right now, I think we're in a good place. Especially remember all of these electrical components are feeding the equipment, that the existing equipment. We're not talking about newer technologies. We're still talking about equipment that we've replaced over the years. But,
Mhm.
So I think we're in a good spot.
I agree.
Thank you. Next up is monthly reports. Bill, do you want to talk about any of the reports?
I know we had some discussions, and I was going to brought the point that we were having some issues with Wheelbrader and the bird plant. We met with one of the vice presidents the other day. I had to keep down, so he sat down with Chris and I and had Christian. It was a very, very good conversation. So a lot better than the phone conversations we were having with the gentleman that was running the facility. That I think was put into a tough position. So we came down, we told him what we were doing. Chris has made some uh, process control changes, some maintenance issues. We've had 2 feeders. One feeder hadn't been used in atmosphere. A lot of the gears and stuff had rotted, so he had to rebuild one. I think we're still waiting for a couple pieces of equipment to come back and fully rebuild it. We've also gone out to look for a price on a brand new one. So by the time we have that one rebuilt, probably have a brand new one. And, we'll either take that old one out, make sure we have it as a spare, or we'll go ahead and the one that we've rebuilt, we'll keep that one. The one that's operating right now, we'll pull that one. So we'll have two operating ones, and then we'll do all the maintenance on the one that's running to bring that up to 100% too. Not that it's not 100% now, but it's been in the building and running. That's the issue with a lot of our equipment around. When it runs, it's fine, but when it sits for a little bit in that atmosphere with the moisture and the hydrogen sulfide, that's a lot of the problems with these pieces of equipment. It's a lot of problems with what we saw in the electrical upgrade, where all of the conduits, where it meets the cement, the acidity, starts eating the rock and stuff. So I think we're in good shape there. I think that was all that Chris had. We did have, because like I said, I happened to be there on June 11th. We had a visit from both the EPA and DEC that did a tour. We sat there, probably we were there all day. From like 9 o'clock on, we met earlier in the morning with Wilbur, and basically this was for the collection system. So there was a lot of questions. They had some questions on the facility. They walked the facility. They looked at some of the pump stations. They made some recommendations. They've been a regular report, and they seem to be pretty happy with what they heard, what we told them. I've been through that before. I thought we answered every question. Everything was great. We got a report from them, and I said, did we even talk to them? So we have to see how they write their report.
And that was DEC,
EPA and
and they were looking at our end regarding what we're bringing to the wheel brader.
No, this was an annual, this thing, like every 5 years, they do a inspection.
Okay.
EPA does that 5-year inspection. I think it alternates every 5 years between the plant and the collection system. And they always invite DEC because, they're collaborating agencies, so they were both there. So
When would you expect a report? A few months?
probably, I would say, 6 weeks to 2 months.
Okay.
It was very detailed, and they asked for a lot of information, and we supplied a lot of information before they even got there. And Chris had a lot of the data they requested over on the computer, so he submitted that. What they didn't have, we submitted after they asked for it.
Great. What's
We
next?
continue to look at stuff on the watershed as far as the intakes, and looking at some of the tonight, trying to find some solutions with that. We've had United Service Group come in and take a look at it. We drained each one of the intakes. They've come and looked at it to see if there's another way to go in other than gunite, what kind of coatings, what kind of repair work. I forgot the name of the business that used to do it, but the gentleman sold to another business. He's no longer doing it, so it's tougher to get him in to do any work. USG, if everyone's familiar, I think they're familiar with him. If you remember, they did the water tanks years ago, and they had that master service agreement. They also did the rehabilitation of all the filters in the water. So we're waiting to hear a report on that. We do have one leak up on Keenan we're taking a look at. Trying to get the field crew up there, but it's almost impossible to get to them because they're just so busy putting fires out. There's been calls, and it's a water main break on Pines Island this morning that I had to take care of. Every time we try to get out there, something happens. So I asked Tom McGregor to go up and take a look at it. So he was with Ricky today and taking a look at it. So we're trying to formulate a plan to see what their thoughts are and see. So once I get a definitive answer from them, I'll get back to the board.
That was gonna be my question is what he just answered.
I need you to do it, Chris.
Absolutely.
I have,
But other than that, I mean, obviously, what is it, like 22 weekends in a row it's rained?
Yep.
Our reservoirs are very good. Water isn't an issue. We do have one sand filter that we just ordered some sands for that was, I don't know if it lost sand or it just wasn't completely filled properly, but it's down a few inches of sand, so we're gonna add that. Other than that, I stopped in Saturday morning at the water treatment plant. Turbidines from the upper junction usually run like 0.03, which is basically drinking water before they even reach the filters. And it was coming out of the filter at 0.21. It's just incredible water.
Great.
When did flushing or when does flushing happen?
Flushing was last month. We're all set. It was all taken care of.
Very
The only
few,
places-
very few complaints this year compared, right? Seemed like even
Yeah.
less than normal, wouldn't they?
Well, yes, I would say normally we flushed 100% of the system, but because of some of the construction, we probably did about 90, somewhere between 90 and 95% of it. We didn't want to impact, where we were doing a lot of work, finishing up on Webster Avenue, over on Fire Road. While we were doing the repair on Glen and Crandall, we didn't want to impact any of that. So if anywhere that we're doing construction, like, and we were going to do it there, we probably skipped it and we'll hit it in the fall. It's not, not outrageous to do that because a lot of systems only do it once a year, but historically we do it twice, and just means our lines are a little cleaner than everybody else's.
Right. But still, I mean, I didn't get any calls. How many did you get?
I have to look at that. It wasn't many. I mean, I asked both Adam and Mary Beth. They weren't. They said it wasn't outrageous. So
That is good. That is good.
I've got a question, so in the raw water versus, total production,
yeah,
used to be about 500 million gallons of, a month. Now it's less than 100 gallons a month. That's a
well, I think
improvement.
you're right, Peter. And we've done a bunch of stuff there. Remember, we redid the filters, so that was number one. Number two is we found a couple things that Ricky up there tweaked, so that helped. It raised a couple levels. We did some work on the pumps and some other things. So, and also sometimes we get some flow inaccuracies in the meters. We have to clean them. So that's how we tell when that number gets far apart. It usually indicates that the meters need to be cleaned.
Oh,
Question. Anything else? Our next meeting is Monday, July 7th. And that's the regular Water and Sewer Board meeting. And then Water and Sewer Workshop, Monday, July 21st. Take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.